Welcome to We the People. It's a new little segment that I'm gonna start doing where I just talk to some real boxing fans. You know, boxing has been giving me mixed feelings these last couple of months. Really, when I look back at this whole year of boxing, it's just like everything in life. You know, it's all in the matter how you see it. It's a lot of things that I see that's positive. There was a lot of growth. I think there was some humility, you know, but then we also got to see the true pulse of what boxing is right now. And again, just like everything, you know, when you look on TV, you know, we always joke about how it'd be so hard to find something good on TV, right? So the things that we actually pay attention to, the most popular things, they have all kind of mixed signals and messages, and you know it's not right. And you know, most of the time, if everybody's doing it that way, more than likely, you know what I'm saying, they taking the big broad highway. Everybody's taking the elevator. Nobody's taking the stairs. You know, it's a few people in boxing that's taking the stairs. And mainly when it comes to the big fights in boxing, in my opinion, from my perspective, all of the big marquee fights in boxing this year, with the exception of a few, have all pretty much been one-sided. Where, you know, you had a group of people that was saying, oh, this guy gonna win, but most people knew that the other guy was gonna win. You know, it was only one or two of them where you really didn't know what was gonna happen. But I got to thinking and I said, you know, it's three fighters, three of my favorite fighters. You know, and I speak for a lot of people because even though I don't comment as much anymore, I do every now and again when it come down to certain topics, but I make my little comments here and there, you know, because I keep track and I watch who's out there, and I got admiration for a lot of these guys. I respect a lot of these guys and what they're doing, but rightfully so, boxing is a popularity contest. And I think since this is prize fighting, I think people always lose sight of the fact that there are people who, they don't have to say much. They just go out and do what they got to do. And the numbers, the dollars, the revenue actually show and dictate that. It just is what it is right now. Whether you like those fighters or not, that's who they are. They become commodities in boxing. But on the flip side, because major channels, like, there are some people like on big fights, you'll hear some outlets that you might listen to talk about boxing, but nobody really talk about boxing outside of the niche market of boxing. Nobody does that. So in this niche market is market share. And right now it's a lot of people just talking and they all saying the same thing, but the motive behind why they're saying the things that they're saying is always in question these days. So I said, man, Mike, what could help boxing? Who are we not seeing that we want to see? And I thought about ErrolSpence. I thought about Gary Antuanne Russell. And I thought about TankDavis. Now, to an extent, Tank pretty much did what he needed to do. I think the personal stuff that happened, it kind of, you know, interfered with what he wanted to do and the plans later on in the year. And then, you know, with PBC transitioning networks and doing, you know, I think that has something to deal with it too. But he gave us 2 fights. He gave us one, what, in January, February, and then another one right back in April. So everybody was looking for him because it was either Halloween or I was loving that Halloween because he was rocking that. That's when he got Leo Santa Cruz. But, you know, he was on this schedule. He got thrown off his trajectory a little bit. And I'll get back to Tank in a second. But I was thinking about ErrolSpence. And I don't care who you were in this world, even if you were just a diehard Bud fan, you did not see ErrolSpence getting dominated like that. Like, in your heart of hearts, you did not see. It was nothing in Errol that ever shown that he could just be utterly dominated like that. And that's not taking away anything from Terrence Bud Crawford. You have to salute that man. Darth Vader. You know what I'm saying? The closer. In all my build-ups and all mine, that's why, you know, on my channel, I'll tell you, you know, this is the possibility. If this happens and that happened, if this person can't do that, this is what's going to happen. And in that scheme, I'm right. I might have to play the other side because we're also in the era now where everybody want a bandwagon. Like, everybody wants to pick this and be right about that. So a lot of people just jump on and say, oh, yeah, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. And nobody goes for the other side. And that's how you know. That's how you know. Unless it's like half and half. The closer it is to half and half, where exactly half of the people are going on this side and half of the people. But if everybody is saying, oh man, I got my money on this, or I'm putting my there's nobody on the other side building up the other fighters, even making it interesting. I'm like, I don't know, as boxing fans right now, I don't know what kind of fans we are, because I'm looking at the sport change. I still talk to my old head and I still get a lot of perspectives from him and how he see it. And in the grand scheme of things, I see it the way he see it only. I have accepted that the sport of boxing is changing. The only thing constant in life is change, and it's changing. It's about that bread. So when I look at what happened with Spence and I look at the kind of fighter he was, who was all legacy. His father was there from the very start. His father's just the strong, silent type, but every step of the way, he was the one that told Errol, like, nah, man, don't get that short up front bread. You know what I'm saying? Let's think about legacy. Let's think about the long haul and put Errol on, you know, he put him on the path to the stairs. Got him good tutelage with Derrick James. You know what I'm saying? Errol grew up. Errol made his own mistakes. You know what I'm saying? That was the only thing with Errol, out of the ring things that was going on with him. But when I look at how people treated him after he lost, when he had 3 straps, he waited around, he didn't go take another fight, and I see the results. I was just like, man, part of me was torn by actually seeing that happen to my favorite fighter. And again, I'm transparent enough to say that I hadn't felt like that since I saw Roy Jones get knocked through the ropes. You know what I'm saying? Roy Jones was like a childhood superhero, just like Tyson. You talking about childhood. So I was like, man, and when I kept hearing what he was saying, man, I want to get my money, I want to get, you know what I'm saying? I was like, man, the sport is really changing, because Errol was sitting around, you know, waiting, trying to make a fight, went out and collected the other, you know, collected the other 2 straps to the one he had when Bud came up. But to get treated like that, to get torn down, for your trainer to get treated like that, to get torn down, I was like, man, just move on from that Bud thing, man. It's dragging on. You know, Errol was competing and jockeying for being a legit face of boxing. I think Tank kind of came and kind of like, he kind of like just kind of took that over. You know, for those who, you know, don't just, you know, applaud Canelo in the run-ins, but that's it. And I'm like, man, the fans need people like Errol. Errol's the one who said, I don't do tune-ups. Now, that's a gift and a curse. But Errol was just built like that. He just special like that. You know what I'm saying? It's just he is a fighter's a fan's fighter. So I was like, man, bring him back. Bring him back, man. Bring him back. We don't see and hear from his father. We just see and hear from Errol. And when his coach get to talking, he don't really get into the business stuff. He say he just there to train. We need that back. Bring him back. That's Errol. Now Gary Antuanne Russell, a young monster. I call him the Butcher. I call Errol the Machine. I call, in my boxes to watch, I call Gary Antuanne Russell the Butcher. It's a brutal style. He can suffocate you if you want. Some of the best lateral movement where he will not let you breathe if he don't want you to. You gotta have a special set of skills to even deal with that man, and then it's only a matter of time. A vicious body puncher, a cerebral guy. If you talk to him, you can just hear the wisdom when he talk. And I listen to how people talk about him online and some of the comments and some of the things people say. I'm like, man, his family just lost a patriarch, right? And Gary Russell Jr., Mr. Gary Russell Jr., he basically took that role on. So people already gave him a fair shake when he was fighting once a year, defending his mandatory, because wasn't nobody just running up on Mr. Gary Russell Jr.'s doorbell asking for a fight. A couple people that came up and through and around them divisions and never even hollered at him. You know, so you get Gary and you start seeing or thinking that, even though I think Gary was pretty active. Of course, he had the setback from losing his patriarch. And I'm like, man, where was all these people that was applauding all these fathers and things like that when Gary Russell, when Big Gary Russell was around running his brothers? Not to mention Gary Antonio had just came off of a loss, a devastating loss. So they lose their father, and then Mr. Gary Russell Jr., he get pickpocketed because he really beat Mark Magsayo with one arm. So they done with all of that. And I'm like, where was all these fans saying, oh man, it's about the black father and this and this? Where was all those fans at? And then bringing me to Gary Antuanne, it's like everybody know that he was a force to be reckoned with. Nobody really knows the story because they're kind of candid. They talk, you know what I'm saying? They come out and talk, but they just don't want to be that in that light. They just want to get in there and do work. But when you get in there and they get in the ring, you can actually see the level of skill and talent. Gary Antuanne Russell stopping everybody that he get in the ring with. Everybody that he got in the ring with, he stopped them. Everybody. He had this little thing with boots and amateurs. He came out on top in those numbers. He said he willing to drop down at 35 or at 40 just in case, you know what I'm saying, because he wanna get it in with Tank. Nobody respect that man. I'm like, bring him back. He always talk intelligent. And he coming in, when he going in, man, people, you ain't gonna get up and try to go get nothing. You ain't gonna try to run to the bathroom. You ain't gonna try to grab nothing to eat. You gonna either wait till you know it's they going to the corners. The round is over, but you ain't trying to miss none of that when he up there. Bring him back. And lastly but not least, Gervonta TankDavis, man. I think he's the most disrespected boxer in boxing, man. And as a Tank fan, it's like, dang. And I people thought I was joking the other day. I said, man, I don't know why y'all doing so much and y'all saying all this and y'all doing all that for this one fighter right here, because y'all sure all build them up. But what y'all like to do is y'all love to build a fighter up just so you can tear him down. So in the same breath, people tell you, oh man, they love to hate on Mayweather. Those same people right now spend their whole time just saying outrageous things about Tank. He was respectful enough to say, look man, I don't care about no belts. This before Kambosos fought Devin. This is after Kambosos beat T.O. He said, man, I'll fight you, but you can keep them belts. He said that before all of a sudden all this stuff was being made. And the elephant in the room is that same, y'all don't respect the father in this. When you really look at it and you look at how Coach Calvin is his father, I'm like, well, y'all don't even give Coach Calvin a respect of being pretty much Tank's father. And I don't know if you say you a Tank fan and you rock with him in this, and when you hear that, if you ever heard that story about how Coach Calvin said the last time he saw his son, what his son said and how he felt, and that was the last time, and then Tank went on to be who he was, and Tank, he can see glimpses of different people that Tank then came up with in the gym that ain't around, but he's seeing that take on his image in Tank embodied in the ring, where he becoming his own quarterback in that ring, where he coming back reporting what he's seeing, and they just like, okay, cool, because that's what he got. That's cerebral, that high of an IQ, and they all on the same sheet of music. He don't get the respect of being that man's father, for real. And the anomaly of Tank is, I think what people don't really realize is between his size, it's almost like Tank has gotten smaller as he went up in weight. Because in between fights, he used to balloon up in weight. But it was something like right around that Leo Santa Cruz, after that Gamboa, I think really after that Gamboa fight, that's when Tank really started, right. I don't know what he did. Whatever he did, but he don't look the same. Even you look at his old videos, as time has went on, Tank is looking smaller and smaller. He always had some kind of disadvantage in reach and in height, pretty much in size and in stature. He pretty much has always been in 4 divisions. He is that guy, and he don't get the respect of saying, look, this is the division I'm in right now. Come see me. I'm the guy. I call shots. Just bring him back. Just bring him back. We the people would love to see ErrolSpence. We the people would love to see Gary Antuanne Russell. And we the people would love to see Gervonta TankDavis. Those are 3 of my favorite fighters that I ride with, I rock with. You know what I'm saying? Whether they rock with me or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I just rock with them. Those are the kind of fighters. I met those guys by seeing them inside the ring. Stuff happened in their personal life. Those are my perspectives on it. I just want to see them brothers get back to what they were doing, because those are some of the boxers that embody what I'm all about. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. We the people would love to see these guys. Bring them out. Bring them back. Peace.